Just when I think I've seen it all, I've heard it all. I mean, I've
Ah,
been
shit.
just when I think I've seen it all, I've heard it all. I mean, I've been doing YouTube full time for about 4 years, 4.5. I truly thought I've seen it all, but no, they're too full time for about 4 years, 4.5. I truly thought I've seen it all, but no, there's always someone freakier to come along. And guys, we found it. So there's this YouTuber slash Twitch streamer who goes by Niara. I think that's how you
Niara
pronounce
YT. Hello, everyone. I'm Niara. I'm a trans femme VTube designed from Germany. Germany. I'm a fox spirit. You know what happens with Germany.
it. In my opinion, they're legitimately one of the freakiest VTubers out there. Now, for the longest time, I thought VTubers were freaks. I thought they were weirdos. I thought they were degenerates. But then I realized, oh,
Yeah, they are. Literally, they are degenerates. They're like a byproduct of the anime community.
that's just a stigma. It's not real. Not every VTuber is a degenerate. Some of them are chill. I mean, just look at this one right here.
Jump!
Right. There is a boy.
Who's this? Oh, stupid bitch.
Face. Is she from like Face Connect?
There is a boy.
Who's this? Oh, stupid bitch.
Yeah, is she like Face Connect? Is she the Italian Face Connect woman?
As you could see from their videos, they're pretty trans oriented, if you
Their entire content is trans.
will. What they talk about is trans, which, I don't care. It's your content. You can do whatever the fuck you want. It does become an issue and a little freaky when you want to get kids involved into your world. And before we really get into it, I just want to say this. I don't hate trans people, okay? I really don't hate
I don't hate them either.
anyone. I only hate people that don't subscribe to my channel and drop a like. That's like my big.
But it does become a problem when they attract children. For obvious reasons, because we don't know if they're trans or not. They'll argue yes, because I don't know what the fucking explanation is, but like they'll explain yeah, they like something like they know since like it's built in them or something.
Biggest ops. But besides that, I have no problem with trans individuals. I have no problem with, well, anyone really. Don't care what you are. As long as you're cool and respectful towards me, I'm going to be cool and respectful towards you. Now that we got that out of the way, because I know if this person sees my video, they're going to be like, this guy's transphobic and, all of this to beat the transphobia allegations. This should be a nice introduction to who this individual is. This VTuber has repeatedly shared their desire to groom children. They even think children
Shit, you're quoting Rev.
can't consent to life-altering decisions.
Kind of crazy that you quote Rev. Alright, this VTuber has reportedly shared and desired to groom children. Even even think children can consent to decisions. So where is the backlash from VTubers? Are so afraid of not being politically correct that they will support grooming. So if I'm correct, I have watched the Forced to Wait is a bad thing. My issue with that video, the 18 one, is that freaking she weaponizes the trans sewer slide rates, and my entire issue with that is she's like, you have to let these teens transition, or they'll start like turning themselves to pianas, or freaking 360 no scoping themselves. They're trying to play Super Mario and jumping on tall, freaking trying to play Super Mario by jumping off tall buildings. This stuff like that. And the issue is like, obviously, she explains stuff like, oh, there's external factors for like mental health or fucking whatever for the trans individuals, and like she's so against it because that's like conversion therapy. There's that, and she's like fear mongering about they're going to increase the laws up to 25, which this is particularly in the United States, which she's from Germany, so obviously she doesn't care. I'm not well doesn't care, but she's not from the United States. She's not a US citizen to what I know of. So the entire anticipus is pointless when you're you're not an American, not and don't live here, and you're talking about our laws.
So where's the backlash from VTubers? This is one of their tweets. Trans people will never leave kids alone. We want trans kids to be trans and give them the education and care we desperately need when we were younger. We have this amazing YouTube video and thumbnail. Leave the kids alone. Leave kids alone. And this base Giga Chat responds with no.
Oh, stupid bitch.
Now, because I'm going to get asked this, do I think children, right? Children/kids, do I think children should start transitioning? No, I am not a fan of that. I mean, how can you make that decision? How old do you have to be until you drink alcohol? 18, 21? How old do you have to be until you could get a gun? How old do you need to be to start getting tattoos? 18? But
So 18 in the United States. Some laws it's like well, for Niara it's 21 in Germany. So maybe
you can change your whole gender, or at
Nara's entire argument is that they're going to force trans people to they're going to force the trans people to transition at 25 when puberty fully develops. And another thing I fucking hate about our video is puberty blockers, because puberty blockers have some permanent effects. I believe infidelity and bone density. And the issue is that obviously these are pronoun. Let's say you take puberty blockers and for prolonged use of time and you freaking get affected by this and you're not trans, you realize, well, you already done the damage to yourself. Yeah, I think it's really annoying because she's so, how do I put it? Ideologically on the trans stuff for teenagers that she freaking doesn't really care that or just even with children, that she doesn't care about the long term effect of the therapy. She just, I don't know. She just wants freaking, how do I say it? Like, more, I don't know. Like, it becomes really weird. It's inexplainable.
least start when you're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Really? That's what we're doing? I think that's a bit weird. I don't think we should be allowing kids to do this. How is this person pushing for little kids to start transitioning, altering their whole body just because you felt like it that very day? You might change your mind later, but at that point, it's going to be too late. When you're forcing it upon kids this aggressively like this YouTuber is, it's weird, it's freaky, it's disgusting. Let them be a kid, let them figure their shit out and then go from there. If you're an adult and you want to chop your penis and at 4, go crazy, but doing this and enabling this behavior on a child who doesn't know better, who legitimately thinks they're Spider-Man, do you really want to give that kid full control of everything he could do? It shouldn't be legal. I think that's fucking insane. They also made this certified hood classic. Forcing kids to wait till 18 is a bad thing. So this guy just wants every newborn, as soon as they say goo goo gaga, that means I want to change my gender. So, cut my penis off while it's small. This is weird. I'm not here to call this person a pedophile or anything, but
Everyone on Twitter is.
I mean, they're not helping.
Yeah, they're not helping.
There is more harm.
I already explained it multiple times. She just basically says, oh, we can't. Because what if the law is passed forcing trans teens or trans kids to be fully in the puberty they're in and blah, blah, blah. Even though it's generally more safer and more cautionate to do that, Niara doesn't care.
Done by not allowing a kid who is questioning their gender identity to not explore themselves and get the treatment recommended by experts. Who are the experts? Are you the experts? Doing all of this yapping has definitely made me thirsty. Thank God.
No sponsorship for you, little bastard. Going back to the experts, I don't think we have that much knowledge on like trans research right now, so I don't think we have enough experts to even tackle that.
Disgusting parent like this individual. They're like, yeah, sweetie, you could transition. And then they're like, well, I don't like it anymore. I was a kid. I do think in 20 to 30 years, we're going to see the fallout of this. And I'm sure a lot of the kids will hate their parents. Why would you let a kid make a life altering decision like this? Why are you so obsessed with this?
I feel like most parents wouldn't actually like have their children transition off for obvious reasons. They don't know the cautions and blah 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 if they're really that knowledgeable on it. I don't think they would give small children, life altering drugs.
All your videos are kids, kids, kids. It's like, bro, chill out. Your hard drive low key might need to be checked at this point. And I think back to when I was a kid, and I'm like, I was so retarded. Well, I still am, but a lot more when I was a kid. Dude, imagine if I had this crazy idea put in me by my mom or my dad that if I want to be a girl now, I could. And I'm like, okay, I'll just do it. And then many years later, I'm just like, why the fuck did you guys let me do that? I was a child. I did not know better. I was literally a kid eating crayons, eating glue, running around like fucking Naruto. Why would you let me alter my whole body because I felt like it that day? You didn't want to be a fucking parent and tell me no, wait, or we'll figure something out. You know what I mean? There's ways to go about it. Like, this is just low-key grooming children into being trans. A 9-year-old doesn't know shit. A 14-year-old who thinks they know everything, they don't know shit, okay? Let's see what they had to say.
It's the Tectone one. Oh shit.
I don't want to slander anyone.
This person thinks that minors should be able to consent
to medical treatment if minors can't consent.
Thinks that minors should be able to consent
to medical treatment. If minors can't consent to HRT, then they can't consent to puberty.
This is like such a retarded statement. This is beyond retarded. Obviously, I have to explain this when you cannot consent to natural processes. You cannot. It just happens naturally. There is no consent. If you're going to argue this is forced upon trans people, that is nature. That is literally nature. It's like saying, I can't consent to gravity or I can't consent to shitting, so I'm being raped by my own shit. It's so stupid.
How do you not understand the take? Like, what the
Because it doesn't make sense. Like, if it's a trans person going like, yeah, let's go, then whatever. But if you're a normal person, you're baffled by this because it's weird.
is wrong with you? Like, seriously. If they can't consent to HRT, if they can't decide which puberty they want to go through, how do you, like, justify forcing them through puberty?
Now, the tweet they're referring to.
Justify forcing them through puberty.
Forcing them, that's like a natural process. Like, you're going to talk about puberty blockers or whatever. That's why, like I said, 18, it's generally safer to do that.
Now, the tweet they're referring to is this one right here. If minors can't consent to HRT, then they can't consent to puberty. I had to read this like 2 times to make sure my brain wasn't fucking leaking. This person is so fucked up mentally. They're fried. They're like, well, you know, if you can't consent to HRT, then you can't consent to going through puberty. Consent to going through your natural selected puberty is now something that is completely against your will? What is this argument? It's just a non-existent BS argument to compare apples to fucking watermelons. It's not the same thing, okay? With HRT, you're constantly injecting yourself with something to change who you are. And with puberty, it's something that we all go through. Am I supposed to...
It's biological.
Give this person a lesson on puberty? I better be...
Fucking... Nyara needs sex ed.
Getting paid extra.
I feel like she's become retarded. So retarded. I don't know, maybe the HRT went into her brain. But like she's become more retarded. And just makes arguments. Which I'm gonna say it's not a bad thing she's not making arguments for trans people. Except when it comes to minors. That's a problem. It's always going to be a problem. Regardless if regardless of blah 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 and blah blah blah.
Extra for this, for giving a lecture on puberty. It is not the same thing, okay? Puberty is something that we all go through, that is a natural thing. It's just a natural part of life. Why are we having this argument? This is legitimately a non-existent argument, and this person's trying to make it an argument and a thing. It is not the same thing. What are you on about? You're fucking insane. The amount of mental gymnastics this person had to go through to get to this argument or this conclusion is beyond me. At that point, you might as well make the whole argument that you don't consent to being born and blame your dad for nutting inside your mom and bringing you to life. You are brainwashed, okay? I don't know who brainwashed you, but you're fucking retarded. I was willing to be charitable towards you, but you're just weird.
When these people talk about consent, it's always in a gross way. When I, for example, talk about consent, it's always in a gross way. When I, for example, talk about consent, it is to like address the claims of like trans kids don't exist because they are too young to transition and like all these things. They shouldn't have HRT. It's the same with me saying, hey, you know, if a trans kid cannot consent to HRT, then why can they consent to puberty? How does that work? And then it's like, oh, that is so different. That's like lunacy that you even like insinuate that such a...
Yeah, because it's literally different. Because they're forced to go through puberty and blah blah blah. But like, puberty blockers are drugs that you have to consume constantly. There's a difference, and also this is just biological nature. I don't care that there's the social construct of masculine and feminine gender. We're talking about sex, not even gender, sex.
Thing even like exists. That is crazy. Do normies actually fall for this kids can't consent to trans affirming healthcare argument? I feel like people maybe like in the center.
Yeah, this argument isn't the argument you think it is. You're so fucking weird. I kind of feel like I need to shower after making this video. I gotta keep it real with you guys. Why are we having this argument in the first place? Can you please just leave the fucking kids alone? Let them be kids and then let them figure their shit out later. Why are we forcing this upon them? Once again, this does not come from a political side. I'm not here to push an agenda. I'm just seeing all of this as a normal ass person. How did we get to this point where we want to force transition onto little kids who don't know better, who are barely getting what life is, and you're like, well, you want to change your gender? Let's do it. You know, I support that 1000%. It's one thing to do it as an adult. It's a whole different thing to do it as a little kid when you don't know better. If we're going down this route, you could get a tattoo at any age. You could start drinking at any age. You could start smoking at any age. If a 5-year-old wants some beer and a cigarette, dude, just give it. And if he also wants to get a tattoo that very same day of a fucking Crayola in his forehead, let him. Who cares? And if that very same day he also wants to transition, dude, fuck it. Let's just do it. Fuck it. If we're heading towards that, just let the kid be able to do whatever the fuck he wants. Don't even be a fucking parent. Just let him wander aimlessly throughout the universe. And I found this comment and it says, as a relatively normal trans person just trying to exist in society, it's people like you that really hold us back. This person is just making trans people look horrible and like creeps when that is not the case.
Well, they're on a long list with like Ava, Chris Tyson, and Keffels.
There's cool
and Lily Tino.
Trans people out there. There's trans people out there that are just trying to live their lives, but it's these type of individuals that fuck it up for everyone else. I found this comment as well. As a trans myself, I don't agree that children should transition. Children are by default not smart enough yet to make their own decisions, let alone know what those decisions even led to. A random kid at 13 or younger shouldn't be thinking about this type of stuff, which I agree with. Puberty is a natural progression of things. It exists for a reason. Now, this is someone responding to them on Twitter, and they say, sorry, I'm a leftist, but I still think that the risk of infertility when it comes to HRT and puberty blockers is too big of a risk to give to teenagers. Let them go to therapy for short, but no HRT before 18. I think that's a valid take.
I think it's more important to save lives. See, she's trying to weaponize the fucking trans sewer slide rate. I am tired. We should let them go to therapy, fix their other shit, but no, it's people like fucking Nyara and some other trans people go like, no, that's conversion therapy. They're trying to wipe us to extinction or something. It's bullshit.
This person is delusional. This person should never be taken seriously.
Because a lot of these things that they are saying are from a fake point of like compassion. We don't hate trans people. We just want kids to make the right decisions. Love how this pretends to be shocked.
I guess it's wrong and you're insane and transphobic if
Love how this we don't hate trans people. We just want kids to make the right decisions.
Yes. It's like, we don't hate trans people. We want them to make the right decisions. Yeah, that's the point, stupid. God, you make your side look so bad that you make Kircha look like a good person. You make, like, this person's obsessed with fucking Kircha. And, like, you make her seem like a good person.
Love how this pretends to be shocked.
I guess it's wrong and you're insane and transphobic if you don't want little kids to start transitioning. The thing with these people is they only see black and white. That's all they know. That's all they see. And life isn't black and white. I wish it was that simple, okay? But it is not. And you're potentially harming the child a lot more when you enable his 7-year-old fucking thinking. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say. This person, please check their hard drive. The amount of times they talk about kids on their Twitter and YouTube is a bit sus. I'm not here to call him a pedophile or anything, but very interesting to say the least. Anyway.
Oh, God. No worries. We're going to continue on the Niara shit with this clip from Asmongold.
So we have a person here who is a big fan, very big fan of giving children puberty blockers. Trans people will never leave kids alone. We want trans kids to be trans and give them the education. So we have a person here who is a big fan, very
Forcing trans kids to go through puberty that doesn't align with their gender identity and causes them depression, anxiety, and high risk of sewer slide just because you believe trans people shouldn't be allowed to exist is bad. Admit children should have to take anabolic steroids if they're groomed, thus Manchesting by proxy. Oh, Munchausen by proxy.
very big fan of giving children puberty blockers. Trans people will never leave kids alone. We want trans kids to be trans and give them the education and care we desperately needed when we were younger. Stop making it so difficult for us to be part of society. It is not transphobic to not want kids to transition.
That's literally normal. If you don't want kids to have drugs, I understand, I guess, where trans people are coming from in some angle. Example, Andy Pants kind of, well, obviously he calls you mentally ill and satanic, but, like, he would argue he's calling you Nazis and he's comparing you with child mutilation, which I get if you're someone who's, like, has a stance, but you make people like Andy Pants write about keeping that children are getting mutilated and shit, getting their gocks cut off and shit like that, or turning their vajayjays into gocks. That's what Niara does. She makes people like Andy Pants like fucking make them prove their point. And like if you as and like here's the issue. Yes, there's a lot of fucking trans people that believe children should have hormone blockers and whatever. But there's also normal trans people that don't think that way. And you have like these weirdos that do.
This is not transphobic. This is normal.
And it's always like so interesting that these people are like obsessed with age of consent, with like
The fuck?
enough.
So I wasn't even planning to post this, but this genius decided to make a whole video about Asman, and then I witnessed the biggest self-report in human history. This individual claims little children should be able to consent to life-altering hormone therapy because at the same time they cannot not consent going through puberty.
Yeah, it's so illogical.
I'm at a loss for words.
When
I might have to make a video on Yara.
for example, talk about consent. The same with me saying, if a trans kid cannot consent to HRT, then why can they consent to puberty? How does that work? And I don't want to allow something they could regret. If they can't consent to HRT, if they can't decide which puberty they want to go through, how do you, like, justify for decide which puberty they want to go through?
Wait, what?
Regret? If they can't consent to, how does that work? And I don't want to allow something they could regret. If they can't consent to HRT, if they can't decide which puberty they want to go through, how do you, like, justify forcing them through puberty?
These retards.
Forcing them. What the fuck? Nyara makes my brain explode.
Are going to get gay marriage repealed. Oh, and this is
through puberty.
These retards are going to get gay marriage repealed. Oh, and this is a person tweeting about me. Trans kids exist. I was one. I was not groomed into this. People like Asmongold get millions of views, spreading hatred and denying our existence, while stories of trans adults and children are being suppressed and invalidated. Oh, you just don't know who you are. Oh, you just fell for Big Pharma. Fall for Big Pharma, or you're just mentally ill. I don't know about this person's history. I can't draw any conclusions on it. You are doing more damage to the entire trans community.
Yes, you are. You make some anti-woke people and some right-wingers. Literally, you make their points feel proven.
Than you can even know.
But oh, I am so evil for saying that, hey, you know, if a child cannot consent to HRT, then they can't consent to puberty.
And it's not just the trans community. There's AoE damage that's happening to the gay community as a macro
Oh yeah, that is so true.
community. There's AoE damage that's happening to the gay
It's just the entire LGBT community. Because you're damaging them.
Community as a macro community because you've decided to attach yourself like a parasite to the LGBT community and then turn it into effectively a weapon for you to push this on children. This is a literally 80-20, 90-10 issue. Who cares about the age of consent?
What the fuck? What the? Everyone cares about the age of consent. It's where that's how we protect children.
Disgusting.